Welcome to the Fast and Slow podcast. I am your host, Nick McCrabb, and with me as always is Nate Spears, here to dive into everything motorsports. From the latest racing action to the behind the scenes of our own garage projects, we're here to keep you in the loop with all things fast and sometimes slow. So jump in with us and let's hit the track. All right, Nate, welcome back. How we doing?
Good. Still cold.
Still cold. Yeah, it's super cold
I don't
here.
know
It's
if
in the 60s.
ooh, I don't know if you've heard uh where I'm from, we got a wicked snowstorm, so more snow than is typical for this part of the country.
Yeah, how much you guys end up getting?
Between the two storms, a foot.
Yeah, it's about what Sarah got. She's in Kentucky with her parents, and they
Yeah,
got about a
okay.
foot. Yeah,
That
well, that's
sounds
no
right.
fun. Yeah.
No. You know what I did that I haven't done since like high school?
What?
Went out and goofed off in the snow.
Hell yeah. As soon as I said what, I was like, no, donuts, of course.
We got the second storm happened while I was at work. So it didn't seem bad enough for anybody to be like, okay, leave early. So we just went the whole day, but it ended up getting kind of bad. So on the way home, the roads were pretty crappy,
hmm
and I was like, you know what, I'm already out.
Do you have a rear wheel drive car or is it a front
It's all wheel
or all?
drive, so
Yeah.
which rear wheel drive would probably be a little more fun, maybe a little more risk of getting stuck, but
hmm
the it's an SUV too, so it uh, at first it understeers real bad. Like when
hmm
you just whack the throttle with just a little bit of steering input, it's just going to push.
hmm
Yeah. So you got to really exaggerate the steering and be probably more aggressive with the throttle than a rear wheel drive car, but I got the
Yeah.
job done. It's still a lot of fun. It probably saved me honestly because it was, you know, the that being said, you start to counter steer, like you start getting in trouble and start the all wheel drive kind of pulls you out of it pretty easily.
hmm
So
Yeah. Yeah.
rear
My,
wheel
my,
drive, you'd probably be a few back and forth before it straightened out again.
yeah, my truck has one of those. It's like a automatic, they call it like an automatic four-wheel drive. And so I guess it kind of
Mm,
plays like an all-wheel drive. So it
yeah.
puts as much power to the front as necessary, and it makes it not fun because it just hooks
Do
and you can't really do much. So
you have
if I'm
a
trying to,
what truck do you
I've
have?
got a 2019 Ram 1500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because our Tahoe has that too, where you can, but you can still I can have it, I can keep it in two, or I can put it in four high or four low, and then it's
hmm
also got this automatic that you talk about,
Yeah. Yeah.
which since
Dude.
the wife and kid, it's the family truckster. When the when the weather gets remotely cold or possible,
hmm
we just keep it in auto.
Yeah. Funny enough, Sarah just bought, well, we just bought, but she bought up in Kentucky a new Pilot, and we traded in we had a 2018 CRV,
Mm,
and so we just upgraded. We every time we travel with the dog, it was just the CRV is just it's a pretty small
yeah.
SUV. So anyway, that's not the point of the story. The point is, uh, it's got like six different modes. It's like eco, normal, and then it goes into like sand, snow, gravel. It's just like I I don't really know if it's distinguishing between those modes. I can't imagine it's like a massive change in
Yeah,
shift
I think
length.
the we used to have a car that did that too, and it was older. It was like a 2001, and it had a snow mode. And I think at least for that, it was all it did was just start you in second gear.
Mm,
It
yeah,
wouldn't let you have first gear.
that makes sense.
Now I
It's
bet there's traction control and
mhm.
um, some of that, but
It's
yeah, I don't
a
know like
eight
what's
eight
the
speed eight speed auto, I think is what it is. So I'm sure it does some computer
yeah.
gonculation on where to start, but
But
well,
yeah,
that's
there's still
fun.
plenty of plenty of snow on the. There's this plat being built across from us.
Hmm.
Since there's no houses there, it doesn't get plowed.
Nice.
So it's like I'm looking at like two cul-de-sacs just totally unplowed.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's fun. I remember in high
But I
school.
couldn't do it right there, right in front of everybody.
Do you remember in high school the that red Ford Probe that I had?
Yeah,
I remember going to, I think we were with like JD and Alex, but we went to like the Kettering Rec parking lot and just raised hell. And you can't do donuts in that car because it's front wheel drive, but we would just like power slide and
yeah,
just
yeah. There's
beat the
still
hell
plenty
out
of
of
fun
that
to be
thing.
had, even if it's front wheel drive.
Yeah, out of control
I just had that
is fun.
conversation with a younger guy I work with who's got a Corolla, and he mentioned he got stuck in the storm, and I was like, "What were you doing out?" And I was like, "Wait," I was like, "Is it what I think it was?" He's like, "Yeah, but it's front wheel drive." I was like, "Even if you like throw it in reverse and you're just like whipping it around in reverse," I
Hmm.
was like, "You're probably still giggling like an idiot.
Yeah,
Like you may not look very cool doing it, but I promise you, you're having fun."
exactly. It's even more fun without snow and tire smoke.
Oh my gosh. That
Oh
reminds
man.
me of the, you don't need to self-incriminate anybody, but the old lunch tray trick
Yeah, yeah.
behind the back tires and put the e-brake on and
That's always fun. Speaking of self-incriminating, we'll keep names and places out of this, but hypothetically, do you remember when we were at a house party? Not to get, we're getting in the weeds on like our personal, at least I'm bringing this up. People aren't going to care, but I think it's a funny
if it's
story.
car related, it counts.
It does. So you had, correct me if I'm wrong, Chevy Cavalier. Was it black?
Yeah.
Yeah. Five
Uh,
speed, four
it
speed,
was, it was the Cavalier was green, and then I had
green.
a Grand Prix that was black.
Okay, so it's green. This is the Cavaliers, what I'm recalling. We were at the a house party and you were out doing something. And I just remember getting a text message from you saying, somebody's chasing me. I tried racing them, and I'm 10% truth on this. I don't know how true this is, but you said something like, I tried racing him, and then he started chasing me. And I remember you coming to the house party down the driveway, like full power slide into the front yard of the dude's house. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
That story
That's
sticks out to me, man. It's so funny.
there's not there's not that was not embellished really at all.
Do you remember what car you
And
tried to race in a Chevy Cavalier?
it was a Jeep, one of their newer at the time it was one of their newer Jeep SUVs.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a night is it no, that was a Dodge Nitro. It was that
Yeah.
body style. It was the maybe the Jeep equivalent of it.
Okay.
It was a Jeep. It was an SUV. So it wasn't, and of course, looking back on it, we did race. It wasn't like I didn't talk to the guy. It was just one of those you pull up at a light
Hmm.
and you go for it.
Yeah.
And like but it was one of those things that was like no but like it was on a long road, like a road that basically had no end. It was almost like a highway. So it's like, well, where
Hmm.
do you stop? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it started from like a light, and then that wasn't obviously I lost bad, but then when it kept doing it,
Mm.
like then from a roll, and then like so I'm like I'm losing bad every time. It's an old Cavalier. It was old for that time, and
Yeah.
he's in
Yeah.
like a brand new Jeep that's just like whipping me. So eventually I wasn't having any fun anymore.
Yeah.
So I leave, but then he follows me, and I'm just like driving around town with him tailing me the whole way. Like, what's going on? I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't even talked to you yet. I can't even see you. It's the middle of the night.
Yeah. I
So
remember probably some drinks involved, and we were ready to defend you when you were coming into the
I
driveway.
I thought I needed it. I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna lie. I thought I after a while it was like I've gone like totally across town
Hmm.
twice, and he's still following me. So And I,
Dang.
it was like, well, I get that you wanted to race. We had a little fun.
Yeah.
I was the only one that didn't have any fun because I lost real bad.
Maybe he thought you were racing for
Why are you
pinks.
still
He's
fun?
just trying to collect his due.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good luck. That was at a time when all of my cars were worth less than like $2,000 for the time.
Yeah.
We're talking greater than 10, no, 15
Dude,
years ago or something like that.
that was
It's
yeah,
$2,000
that's
15 years ago.
yeah, yeah. Lots of
It was a junker.
ching. Yeah.
I
Oh man,
had
that's funny.
no business out trying to test anyone in that thing.
Hmm.
Just having fun being a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, you said last time we talked, you thought the garage door was going to make some progress. Do we have
Sure
progress?
did. Yes, I'm pumped about
Hell
it.
yeah. Hell yeah. Let's talk about
So
it.
I'll show you. Are you familiar with like high lift modifications?
I
Because
mean,
your dad had a shop and a lift, but he had a big bay door, right?
he did. It wasn't it was a full-size door. I think it was a 12-foot, like plus 12-foot door that racked itself up and over. So it wasn't
Yeah.
a it's not what you're about to show me.
All right. So this is so for I guess everybody listening, whoever you are,
We're building an
I've got a
audience.
residential. Here we go. Your standard residential garage door, which is about 7 feet tall,
Uh-huh. Oh,
and
nice.
this part of the garage is probably 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can get a better view of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the high lift modification just brings the tracks up closer to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then instead of having your normal garage door that's in the middle above your head, you get this guy
Oh, that's
who's,
the motor? The
yeah,
oh, sick.
and it just connects, the motor connects directly to the spring shaft. I don't know what the technical term for that is, but
Yeah. So you didn't have to buy a new garage door. You just
no.
modified the track.
So there was some drama with that because when this house was built, it used a Wayne Dalton style door, which those are all, and the whole thing was Wayne Dalton. So the reason that's important is because Wayne Dalton uses a special spring.
Mm-hmm.
So like you probably recognize that as like your
Yeah.
stereotypical or just your typical garage spring. Well,
Yeah.
Wayne Dalton springs are all like internal to be safer and what have you.
Oh.
What that means is that you need like to convert it for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it's because it has to connect to that shaft
Mm-hmm.
to use that opener or any opener similar to that. I don't think you can keep the shaft. I think you have to convert to your typical spring on the outside style.
Yeah. That's cool.
Either way, all that to be said that it was just a little bit more expensive than maybe if you
Mm-hmm.
had a normal garage door with that style spring already.
Do you mind me asking what it cost?
So I paid somebody to do it,
Yeah.
and out
Yeah.
the door it was a little over 2,300,
Okay. I'm
which
thinking that's like I don't know if you're our next move, we might be there for 4 years. 2,300 bucks to get a lift. Like that's not terrible.
so here I'll show you too. I don't. You're probably not gonna be able to hear because of the microphone. It is dead silent.
Oh, nice.
It is quiet. So that's cool too because I've got kids' bedrooms above the garage. So
I guess
sure,
is it a
they don't have
direct
to listen to
drive?
it.
It's not a I would assume it's not a chain.
No, there's no chains. There's like a little like Lovejoy there on the end. I haven't really got up there to look at it.
Hmm.
And it's a DC motor. It might even be like a servo motor
Hmm.
just because of how it moves the door. It like slows down right before it closes and it has a lot of control over it and it can
Okay.
sense resistance. So like one of the things it says to do to test it is like put a box under the door and let it try and crush it.
Gotcha.
So it
Yeah.
can like feel if mid close I walk over there and like push the bottom of it with my hand, it says, "Oh my God, I'm hurting somebody," and it goes back up.
Wow,
You
man,
don't even need to
that's
break the just to do that, which it's got your normal laser.
yeah. So that'll what does that give you height wise once the door's up?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna measure right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
Oh no, I did. No, I have a picture on my phone. I already measured. I'm hoping this plan works. So with the garage door up, I have 105 inches from the
Okay.
floor.
Yeah. So that's mm, and then a little under 10. That's
Yeah, yeah, it's like
math's hard.
9. Yeah,
Yeah,
but so
that's
I guess just
perfect.
to keep nerding out, what it's a LiftMaster 1000 or something. And it's got all the cool. It's got like Wi-Fi and all the stuff that I'm using it now, but I wouldn't have gone out of my way to get it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
definitely. And that's probably the most badass name too, the Liftmaster 1000.
yeah, bonus points for name.
Yeah.
Something else, something else that didn't occur to me was so your normal garage door, you've got that pull cord that
Hmm.
disconnects your door from the chain so that you can, if the power goes out or something, you can raise it.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore. So it's got this like battery backup. It's got like a little, you're not gonna be able to see it, but inside of there is a pretty beefy battery for backup. The same thing,
Yeah.
it's got a cord, but it's all electronic.
I see.
So I guess other relevant information for car guys is it's got this sweet automatic deadbolt.
That's
So when it
nice.
shuts, it automatically deadbolts your garage door shut.
Oh man.
So I know historically garage doors are super easy to break into because all you have to do is get a wire, grab that cord,
Hmm.
and you from the outside, if you can grab that cord with a wire, you can get in.
Yeah.
So usually I take that cord down. When I moved into the house, I undo that cord or shorten it. I just put like an inch on it
Hmm. You're talking about
because if the power's out and I need to
the
get
red cord.
out,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to be in here.
Hmm.
But having that long cord hanging down makes it super easy from somebody outside to get
Yeah.
the thing.
And it's right there. Yeah, it's I mean,
Yeah, and
pretty
it's hanging
easy.
right by like I've got windows in the garage door now, so you can see it.
Yeah. No, I like
So
that a lot. That's cool.
I'm pumped about the deadbolt, and nobody and their brother even knows what a wall mount opener is if you're just a casual um, homeowner.
Hmm.
So people are gonna come in here and be like, "What is wrong with your garage door?
Yeah.
Like, why does it look so funny? What's missing?"
Just pull some pranks and tell people to you have to manually open the door every time.
Yeah, but I'm glad it worked. They didn't have any trouble.
Hmm.
The like I said, I had kind of started to do research to do the work myself, but
Yeah.
honestly, and there's a lot of information out there. There's one website in particular, I forget the name of it. You can buy kits to do it. They'll kit everything up for you if you give them the
Hmm.
right information and send it to you. But it wasn't going to be that much cheaper than the quote I got from these folks. So I was like, well, given it's somewhat hazardous to do that kind of work if you don't know what you're doing.
Hmm.
And I don't know that I want to burn a whole day. It'd be like maybe a whole weekend for me to do it. I bet for
Yeah.
me just figuring it out and probably screwing it up once. And
Yeah. Was it
so I'm
like
glad I decided to
half
pay
day,
somebody to do it.
like half day work for them?
It would have been a lot less than that. It would have been 2 hours, except for they forgot about one of the cables wasn't long enough.
Mm.
So they had to go back to their shop downtown of all places,
Uh,
which ate up like another hour. But it happened when I was at work, so I didn't miss any time there.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm super pumped about it. I wish that it went just a little bit taller. Like in my head, I'm not, is it glare? Oh, there you
Hmm.
go.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, oh, it's going to be an inch from the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of did some of the math based off of that, and it's not. Obviously, it's when I talked to him ahead of time. Obviously, I knew it was going to look like this.
Hmm.
He was. We've got we've got like door handles on the outside of the door, like just for appearance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put bigger lights in here eventually.
Hmm.
So he's like, he was asking me those questions, and he was like, you don't want you don't want it dang near scraping the ceiling.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about like what your plan is when it's down. Does
Yeah.
the motor sense going up? So let's say you forget that your car's racked and then you open the garage door. Will it sense as it tries to hit your car?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah. It's
I
like
have to
any
confirm that,
resistance.
but
Yeah.
I think it would.
Because I
And that's the other
guarantee
thing too.
you will forget.
Yeah, I'm playing games with that too, doing the math. Like it's a done deal now. It needs to happen. But as far as I've got a particular place I want to put the lift in here, like its
Hmm.
proximity from like the entryway to the house and garage door. And I think, and what I've seen other people do online, and it makes sense, is if you back the car in on the lift, you can have the door come over the hood before it gets to the
Mm.
and stop before it gets to the windshield.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I don't need the roof under the garage door. I just probably need the hood under the garage door, which that's kind of, I'll open the door and I'll show you. But another benefit that I wasn't totally aware of, but it's a good thing, is
Hmm.
since the bottom of the door still just stops when it gets to the top of the opening.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like in a normal garage door where the whole door ends up horizontal.
Hmm.
You still end up with, in this case, maybe a panel that's still vertical there,
Yeah.
which is why I assume, which is why the spring comes into question because now the spring is holding more weight even when it's, quote unquote, relaxed or open.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, what that means though is that less garage door comes across the ceiling.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, that might give you the opportunity to just have that portion of it come over the hood a little bit
Yeah.
and
Does it
stop
have
before it gets to the.
does it have settings where you can like pick how open you want the door to open? Like, can you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Like,
I
if
haven't I haven't messed with it, but just reading the instructions of it, it says you can fine tune the open and close points.
hmm yeah, that'd work. Because I'm sure. I mean, you're trying to think what would be on the rack, like all times.
Uh, so in this case, it'll be a Volkswagen Bug,
Okay.
1978.
Yeah. So that I wonder if it's like equal since it's got the design. Like, would it matter
I
if
know
you
I've been
flip
trying to
it
figure
around?
out the. I need to go. I need to go to its current location and measure it. But what I can tell by looking at pictures and online is it's a little over 50 inches, probably from the bumper to the windshield.
Okay.
And I've got this garage door comes it comes horizontally 71 inches away from the wall. But then there's some other things that's going to push it back. Is it going to push it back that last 20 inches? I don't know.
Hmm.
And then also depends on where you park it on the lift. So I'm I'm being particular about where the lift is going in the garage. I haven't really thought too much about it about where I can park it on the lift. Like I could obviously bring it all the way back to the stops, and then I'm probably there.
Hmm.
But the other end of it, is how you get into the house. So I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that when you come out this door, you don't get Volkswagen bumper to the face,
Yeah.
and you've actually
And
got floor room to come out here and walk into the garage and out
Yeah.
and
So the
not have to
lift,
like jungle gym through a lift.
yeah, and so it'll be on the door side of the house, like the entrance to the
Yeah,
house is the side the lift will be on.
yeah.
Okay.
Which so because to flip that over, we looked at both ways. What if I it'd almost be better to put it over there. You're gonna see all my junk. Sorry, stereotypical garage, got lots of
Yeah.
stuff. Um, we could put it over there, but then when we parked the Tahoe here, because that's what we're trying to accomplish, is to keep the family truckster under roof.
Hmm.
It's way too close. You come out that door, even with like an inch away from it fits, but barely. You got an inch over there and like an inch from the stairs.
Oh
You
yeah.
couldn't get out
Yeah.
unless you wanted to get up on top of the hood of the Tahoe.
We're running into that problem too. Well, we will when Sarah goes back. She's heading back here a few days, but CRV is considerably smaller than the Pilot, and so we're we did some measuring. Like we know the dimensions of the garage, but we have the same situation where the door to the house is on the backside of the wall, and so
Yeah,
it's gonna be you're gonna step out and you know take Pilot to the nuts.
yeah, which is fine if you can, as long as you know about it. But with the
Yeah.
kids and everything, they're gonna.
Oh, and getting groceries
I just.
inside and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
Like
groceries
that's
especially.
yeah. So
I'll open it. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear, probably because of the mic, but just take my word that
yeah,
it's quiet.
yeah.
Something else I thought was kind of weird, but I use it a bunch actually. Is there's an opener by the door itself.
Oh, that's cool. Is there two
Yeah, I
then?
was like,
Is there an
that's the
opener
little.
on the wall by
Yeah,
the door?
yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna open it.
Yeah, it's like it's you can't hear anything, and I think it's because the Zoom is trying to cancel any of the
Oh,
noise.
maybe.
Or it could
But
be
there
an
you go.
awesome it's awesome advertisement because it sounds like nothing happened.
Yeah,
That's
it
cool
it
though,
is
man.
quiet,
Yeah.
and it's weird being in here with it up so high. You guys probably don't care because you've not seen it before, but
No, I think
it makes
any,
the garage
I mean,
it makes the
if you think
garage feel huge.
yeah, if you think about like our target audience we're trying to develop here, it's the dudes like us who live in suburbia America, and we're trying to, you know, make a shop in the middle of the suburbs, and I think this is
Yeah,
super cool, to be able to put a lift in a garage in, in the suburbs, and it's not a shop that's detached. So, I think that's awesome. Well, that's exciting, dude.
I
Glad
cheated.
that, yeah.
I I moved any snow and ice I could see away, and then I also kind of rested my hand on it as it came down. So
Ah,
I'll have to
yes.
revisit that one and make sure it's legit. But
Yeah. So how quick do you think you'll get a lift? Like, was this going to be a bam bam, or are you going to wait till it? Are you going to wait a little bit?
no, I want to get it on order right away, just because the well, yeah, I want to get it on order right away. Mostly because when the springtime, right now the bug's in storage,
Hmm.
so that's costing monthly.
Yeah.
So the sooner we can get that back, the better. Not that it's not a lot of money. It's totally manageable, but I want it here. It needs some work. So
Mm.
come springtime, it's not ready to drive. It's drivable, but it
Yeah.
needs. I'm pretty sure it needs a new master cylinder. It needs new jets in the carbs. Like
Hmm.
the guy that had it before me, it's in really good cosmetic shape, but some of the mechanicals need attention. So I want to start working on it,
Yeah. That'd be a
preferably
lot of fun.
before spring. I'd like come spring and summer. Obviously, I want to go cruising in it. So
Hmm. Yeah.
um, The next
Is it?
thing that needs to happen in here, though, before the lift, is the electricity.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
need to get. I'm going to put a sub panel in here, but there needs to be the quote unquote power post is going to be probably kind of more in the center of the garage. So I'm going to put. I need 220 volt on the center in the garage up on the ceiling.
Yeah. Is that
Like I
something you do
said last
yourself
time,
or
I
you...
think there's a yeah, not alone, but I'm me and whoever I can rope into helping me.
Nice. Okay.
Which I don't know what to expect with that either. I don't.
Yeah.
People do it, so I'm gonna try. Um, I I can't imagine it's terribly difficult. I think what makes it difficult is it's heavy and the pieces are huge.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like complicated, I don't. I think they're pretty simple machines,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry. I meant the electrical in the house, like putting
oh
220.
yeah, I'll do that too.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, that was the other thing with this one. The since the opener got moved, it needs its own outlet over there too.
Mm, yeah. Do you have like
So I
a...
put one there on this.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
I put an outlet there on the ceiling for it.
It's cool. I need to brush up my home electrical skills. I haven't done a electrical project in a long time. It's...
I got I got really comfortable with residential wiring when we in the last house we finished our basement. We did that ourselves,
hmm
with the exception of drywall. I hate drywall
Yep.
and carpet, but I did all the electrical and
Nice.
at that time too. I worked with electricians, so I had professionals on speed dial if I ran into trouble. So
That's good.
I'm not an electrician, but obviously because I own the house, I'm allowed to be my own,
hmm
you know, technician.
Yeah,
But I do have, if I run into trouble, I'm sure to ask because that's not something that well, so I have a lot of respect for electricity,
sure.
but I'm comfortable doing residential stuff myself. And like I said, I've got a handful of people who are licensed electricians that I can always lean on.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the lift install, that shouldn't be too crazy. It's just uh it's the you get to drill one time. Like that's your
Yeah,
one shot to put it in the right spot, which is...
yeah, and we'll see. But so it's a four post, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the. It comes with like a caster kit for you can put it on wheels,
Oh.
or it uses like the weight of the lift. The wheels aren't permanent. You can
hmm
install the caster kit and then drop. It's pretty clever. You drop the lift down on top of the casters, and it raises the whole thing up on wheels. So then you can roll it around and put it wherever you want.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
on the four post lifts, they don't say they you have to bolt them down. They recommend it,
hmm
obviously,
hmm
but by most accounts, it's totally safe to use not bolted down.
Oh, dude,
That still feels weird.
in my mind's eye, I don't know why I was thinking it was a two post. I forgot you told me you were doing a four post, like a drive on
Yeah,
style. Yeah.
that's another thing too. Have you ever had a debate with somebody about two post versus four post?
No, but it's one of those I'm like on the fence, and I'm probably not the best person to have an argument about over it. But I think it depends on the project you're doing, and I think that I wish I could have both because I would love to
Yeah,
do oil changes and just like drive up on a thing and then push a button. But then,
yeah,
if I'm trying to do ball joints, I, I'd probably want a two post. So,
yeah. I think to, without getting into like the nuances of the debate, it comes down to like if you're primarily going to be storing a car, four posts.
yeah, yeah.
But for most maintenance, especially heavy maintenance, two post is probably the way to go.
hmm
Two post in a residence though, makes me a little bit nervous because you need to make sure the concrete is of the right
Yeah.
quality and that you fastened it correctly.
Hmm.
Your residential garage floor is not flat,
Right.
guaranteed. It
Right.
slopes towards the bay door.
Hmm.
So like little things like that, and it's like to me a unicorn solution is a four post lift with like hydraulic bridge jacks.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like okay,
Which,
but I mean now you're talking lots of money if you buy it
mhm.
new.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I maybe in the decades to come, I'll work my way that way. And to do that, I'll start with the four post. And my primary need right now is storage.
Hmm.
So that's the problem I'm trying to solve is I've got to get effectively three cars in a two-car garage. So
Yeah.
to park anyway.
Yeah. I, it's, I really want to lift and I want to do it in the next house I have. But like, that's such a, that's such a hard decision to make, four versus two, because like I work on the
Yeah.
Camaro a lot, but really there's not a lot of like remove tires projects left. You know what I mean? It's the big
Yeah. Yeah.
projects are transmission and oil changes, and that stuff can be done on a four post, no problem.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's a million options now too. Like so I'm leaning towards a Benpack 7P.
Yeah.
But if you get on Benpack's website, and I'm sure you've seen their little like scissor jack, the mobile, I don't know what they call them, mobile lifts or whatever, but
Like you,
they're
you
hydraulic
drive on.
lifts, but you can just slide under the car
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
a scissor jack, or um, there's a different style too. There's one that's got like two parallel pieces that you put underneath,
Hmm. Yeah. I need
so
to
you
look to
can.
see if there's a option I could do that I could just bring with me wherever I go. I know they have the ones that they're very mobile and you basically line them up on the frame rail and they're kind
Hmm.
of independent of each other. Uh, but I would love one if I'm gonna do that. It seems like you're eating up so much space because you're trying to, you're basically limited to the width of the frame rail. It'd be cool if
Yeah,
they have like drive on four post or drive on mobile ones, I guess. But I don't know how they would
yeah. I
ladder
don't
release
know.
keep you from like tipping the car over.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen anything quite like that, but
Yeah.
all that to be said, though, compared to however many years ago, there's lots of options. I was not prepared to have to spend this much time picking a
Hmm.
model and a manufacturer because that's the other thing too is you get into different manufacturers and they're all slightly different, obviously for competitive reasons, but um, it's
Yeah.
it's a deal.
I might have to go on a lift bender and just get sucked into researching lifts for the next couple days.
It's fun to think about too. I
Hmm.
mean, I can say that I never thought I would get a lift. It was one of those things that was like, oh, such a nice to have. It's such a luxury, especially if you're a car guy. That um, it's kind of one of those like crown jewels in the hobby.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
oh, you got a lift. You must be really serious. Like
Yeah.
you're in it, man. And that's not why. Unfortunately, and fortunately, it's not why I'm getting one. It's
Hmm.
I've got a storage problem, and yeah, I've got projects and everything, but what's really driving it is when we moved from Indiana to Ohio, we downsized. I mean,
Hmm.
we had a three car there, and we were trying to get a three-car garage here, but the market over here is set up that if you buy a house with a three-car garage, you're talking about a huge house.
Yeah.
There's this
Yeah.
weird correlation between how many garages a house has relative to its size.
Hmm.
In Indiana, for whatever reason, it wasn't so much like that. Three car garages were everywhere on pretty modest houses.
Hmm.
Here it's like, oh, three car, you're talking about a mansion. So get ready to spend well over a $500,000 or more. We were probably,
Yeah, I think Omaha, Nebraska was very similar when we were out there. It was like 2,500 square feet and below, you couldn't find a three-car garage. But then,
oh yeah, no way.
anything
Not here
above
in
20,
Ohio.
25 to 3,000 square feet, which is, I mean, three to 4,000 square foot homes are for
Yeah.
two people. It's
Yeah.
too much home for us. So,
Yeah.
and too much money.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then obviously everybody knows that the market went stupid.
Yeah.
So all that to be said, that, the downsize is what's kind of, um, it's forcing it and enabling it. So it's,
Hmm.
it, along with the smaller size came a smaller price tag. So
Hmm.
we were able to use some of that to help fill in all of our must haves. So we sat down when we moved, we're like, here's our must haves.
Hmm.
Well, we thought the three car was one of them. Found out that that had to go right away.
Yeah.
So the we set aside some money to fill those gaps. So there's other little things we wanted to. Um, we thought we wanted four bedroom, couldn't find one that was affordable. So now we're in a three bedroom.
Hmm.
So things like that.
Yeah.
That so it's not. This isn't like a splurge. It kind of is because I could just abandon my car hobby altogether, but of course that's not going to happen.
No.
So to fill in the must haves, this needs to happen. So the
Yeah. It's kind of
family's on
like,
board with it.
that's
It's
good.
not a waste of money.
It's kind of like when you start a project, like not a project, but a job, and you're like, man, can't do this job without this tool. I got to go buy the tool. It's just on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will, so like I said, the bugs in storage right now, and I was like, how many months of storage would it be to equal the cost of this lift? And that's not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be in storage for a really long time before I spend the same amount of money.
But then you got to
But
say, what's the intent of the bug? To have
yeah,
it and
I want to
enjoy it?
drive it. I want to.
Yeah.
So that I was thinking about that too, and I had to talk myself off that ledge too. And I was like, no, because it needs work. Like it needs work. It's a classic car. It needs work. It's always going to need
Hmm.
work.
Yeah.
And if it becomes a chore to go drive it, it it could not get driven.
Right. And then that snowballs into seals, busting
Yeah,
and dry rotted hoses. And yeah, man,
yeah.
that is some guy math that it,
It's
it,
100% guy math, but
yeah,
it it checks out.
it does. It balances.
The important part is everybody's on the same page.
Good.
It's a that we're all in agreement that it's a worthwhile use of money.
Yeah.
Uh, I just need to make sure I'm making progress on it.
Well, that's why we have this show.
Yeah, and I appreciate the accountability of this part of it. This is going to be great.
Yeah, yeah. Because now I'm, like I'd say before, I'm interested. Maybe you have a different take. Do you verbally talk cars with somebody else? Like, do you get that out as a car guy? Do you have like a person that you verbally talk cars with? I know like you and I we've texted for decades, but because I
Yeah.
have a take on it, I don't. I'm interested in your point.
It depends. So now in my new job now, there's several car guys.
Oh, nice.
But the kicker there is we don't. I'm not side by side with them a lot. I have to go out of my
Hmm.
way to go find them. So it's like
Oh,
at
okay.
best we'll talk about lunch or something like that, and
Yeah.
then we each have our own kind of interests. So our interests don't, so we talk about cars and that's great, but within the cars, we're a little bit slightly offset in what we're interested in.
Hmm.
But the a long conversation, no, it's just text. It's texting you and Luke or whoever.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's like in a whole day, I might talk like 4 sentences to
It,
somebody about cars.
yeah, and I think that's I guess that's the point I'm getting at is like this show uh I have this past year I had a couple friends at work that like we actually worked next to each other and like pretty big car guys. Kind of similar though, like different categories of car guys. So like, you know, it like one guy's a drifter, and so we'd kind of talk back and forth about drifting and stuff.
Yeah.
But now, dude, I don't have anybody to actually talk about cars with, and I find myself like tempering my discussion about cars because I'm like, nobody gives a shit about cars that I'm surrounded by. And so I think this show is going to be awesome because one, like we continue to talk cars, but then like you mentioned the accountability of projects and stuff. There's only
Yeah.
so much texting you can do, and then if there's not somebody that's like, "Hey, how's the project going? Like, what's the status?" Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's going to be the benefit of this for sure.
Yeah. You're like that. You said that, and I instantly thought of all those memes of like when you're at a party and nobody wants to talk about, everybody's talking about, you know,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's last football game, and you just want to talk about cars.
Yeah. That's
Like the guy's just sitting there all sad, like,
yeah, and I don't want to exclude anybody because we gotta grow the sport, but when you start talking to somebody that's, maybe 20% of a car person or car guy to our 100% car guy, and you're
yeah,
just like, oh man, okay, we'll talk because
yeah.
this is the best I got. But
So I will say that it is kind of cool. One of the guys I work with is roughly my age, and he's kind of just getting into cars.
oh,
So he he served, so he's a Marine,
oh, cool.
and now he's on his. I'm not sure when he got out, but it couldn't have been terribly long ago.
Hmm.
So he's kind of like still kind of feeling everything out again, and so he just got like a Honda Civic Si, and he's every now and then he'll like the couple of us that are in the cars will ask questions and stuff like that. And it's been fun to like guide him to like be like like the Civic Si is actually it's a pretty cool car. Like that's a worthy
Hmm.
car of getting into. It's a daily that you can enjoy, and it's got a little extra. It's not just your vanilla car, commuter car.
Yeah.
Um, but he started to put like he wanted to put coilovers on it. So he was like, "Oh, here's the ones that I'm looking at," and he like pulls open like eBay or Amazon or something like that. And we're like, "All right, time out.
Yeah.
Like let's just do a little bit of research." And so some people gave him some suggestions, and we're like, sure, you could go get the Amazon ones or eBay ones right now and have them really soon because they're the right price.
Hmm.
It was like, or if you think about it, like you need to like maybe we'll get into this too at some point on the podcast, but like set a budget, set some money. It's like first decide what it is that you want,
Hmm.
and then decide what is it going to take, how long, how much. If you just go out and say I want coilovers and this checks the box, then you're probably going to be disappointed.
100%. Yeah. That's
So it's been kind of fun talking to him about little nuances like that.
hmm No, that's cool. Yeah, those Civic SIs are. I'm assuming it's a new SI or newer.
It's not new, but it's not terribly old. It's
Yeah.
probably 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, they've over the past half decade have put together some pretty good products, which kind of sucks because they get shit on a lot, but they're actually
Well,
really really good
it's because
cars.
of what people do to them,
Yeah, yeah,
and
no
I have the
doubt.
power to help that with this one particular case.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Um,
So I guess speaking of accountability, I don't know if we're in fast yet or not, but um, so I said last time too, like IMSA and sports cars and road racing is my preferred auto sport to watch.
Hmm.
And I will say, the last couple of years, like I said, I stay in touch just on YouTube and on, I follow
Hmm.
drivers on Instagram, et cetera, like that. But I'm also going to use this as a chance to like really watch it this year
Me
because if we're going to
too.
talk about it,
Yeah.
because it's too easy. Same thing. It's like I can't very rarely can I sit down and watch a race live anymore.
Hmm.
But now between IMSA TV and the the standings are always live on their website.
Yeah.
There's it's not it's easier. It's easier than it was however many years ago. And I'm gonna really, really try to stay really in tune with IMSA this year.
Yeah, it's dude, same. And I kind of had a humble moment the other day because I tell people like I'm really into IMSA, like and I am, but I totally missed that. I guess Ricky Taylor went back to race for Wayne Taylor Racing in prototype, or I guess the top, whatever the top class is.
Yeah.
I dude missed it completely, and I'm like, you calling yourself a fan, and you don't even not even keeping up on the happenings. Uh,
Yeah.
so I guess I I also, you know, I do watch NASCAR on Sundays, but I'm considering not watching NASCAR on Sundays this year and focusing on endurance racing. I think that might be what I do.
Yeah. That yeah, I have mixed feelings about that too, because I've never really been in super into NASCAR,
Hmm.
but it's one of those things that they'll every now and then there'll be a headline or something will come across and it'll be like, I gotta go back and watch.
Hmm.
And I'll pull up either the highlights or something like that. So it's like if I could do both, I could see, that would be what I would do if I had that as an option. But
Yeah, they're really good
I
about
think to manage my own expectations, I need to just I want to become fluent once again and things IMSA,
same.
and that's what I'm going to try and do. And I'm like you said, I'm behind.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
like since we were talking about it in preparation for this, I was reading articles and on IMSA's website, and um, it's been a
yeah.
while since it's since having really since kids and moving. I
Hmm.
haven't I haven't been a super fan for 5 years just because I
Yeah.
haven't had the time to read all the
Well,
articles and listen to all the driver interviews and things like that.
one in 5 years, I mean, they've changed. I can't remember all the classes that have changed, but like even the names of the
Yeah,
classes, right? It's like I was like,
yeah. The
oh,
classes are there. There's been the homologation with the World Endurance Championship. So like
mm-hmm.
the
Yep.
GT3 or the
Used to be GTLM. Is it
yeah
now
the GTD
GTD?
Pro is now equivalent to
Yeah.
the GT3s and some of those things that I about missed if it wasn't major news. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
if you're anywhere around it, you heard about it. But there's smaller stuff too that, like you said, I'm going back and finding out. Like, oh yeah, like I if it weren't for preparing for this, I would have never seen like um, one that caught my attention was I think the 24 Hours of Daytona is going to be Andy Lally's last race
I don't even know who Andy
ever.
Lally is. Who the hell am I?
Well, it was. I mean, he's a tenured race car driver
Okay.
and for IMSA, but he was
Yeah.
one that he was probably one of the first IMSA drivers I followed on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I can't really spout off all of his accomplishments, but he's one of the best.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, I remember when he was probably when I started watching IMSA probably 12 or 13 years ago.
Hmm.
He's probably one of the guys.
I guess
So it's
I
like,
guess
oh
it'd
man, I'm
be
starting to.
yeah. I guess it'd be like the equivalent of somebody watching NASCAR 10 years ago and then coming back and being like, Wait, Kevin Harvick's not
Yeah,
racing anymore?
yeah. He's
Yeah,
not the guy.
yeah. So, but yeah, and if you think about it, there's far less races than a NASCAR season. So I think that's more digestible. It's like our Sunday thing to watch NASCAR. And so if I'm gonna like go full bore on this, I need to be like Sarah. We're not watching NASCAR anymore. We're watching endurance racing. And instead of
Yeah,
4 hours, 12 hours of our Sunday is
12
gonna
hours.
be.
So I will
So,
say that is the 12 hours and 24 hours is kind of it's a blessing and a curse because like it's just an impossibility that you would consume 12 hours of
yeah,
content
yeah.
from that. So it is kind of nice when a race is that long. It's like in those 24 hours, you're going to have downtime somewhere
Hmm.
that you can tune in
Yeah.
and
Dude,
get caught up.
case in point. So, not to veer too far away from IMSA, but it's still endurance racing. Uh, I forget the I forget the name of the series. It's out of France. I think it's out of France. But it's a 24-hour endurance racing series that is they're in Dubai this weekend. And so they had the 24 hours of
Oh,
Dubai.
really?
Yeah, and I didn't know about it, but I was on YouTube and it was like live or watch live 24 hours of Dubai. And so over the past day, I've just any chance, I'm just in my room or, at work, I'll just put it on YouTube in the corner and you don't have to be locked in for every hour
Yeah.
of the race. You can have it on and look for headlines of, who's moving up through the field and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. And like I said, on with IMSA anyway, you can, it's probably on their app. It's definitely on their website. Like if it takes no longer than like checking a text message to just see the leaderboard.
hmm
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And
And
I
it's just
think,
exciting.
yeah. And it, like my wife knows too, like if it's the 24 hours of Daytona or even the 24 hours of Le Mans, it's like, all right, I get that I'm not going to be able to see a lot of this race because we've got plans or something like that.
Hmm.
But I'm going to watch the start and I'm going to watch the finish. Like,
Yeah,
so if you can time it like that, then
that's true.
it's not so bad. But I want to do better than that this year. I want to actually watch the races as much as I can, as much as schedules allow,
Yeah.
and change my instead of getting sucked into inevitably some content that I don't care about via Instagram or doom scrolling here or there. I
Hmm.
need to change that. If I spent the equivalent amount of time just on IMSA's website or follow on the drivers that I follow's pages,
Yep.
I would be a much better fan.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, so actually, the series I was talking about, they're in Dubai. They're doing an offshoot 6-hour race next weekend at Yas Marina. So it's free to spectate. That's I think what I'm gonna do on Sunday is I think we're gonna make like a lunch push, and the race starts at 10, so I probably won't stay. I won't be there at 10, but we're gonna go grab some lunch downtown and then head over to the track. And it's they're I think the equivalent of GTD, and it's single class. So I don't think this race will have multi-class, but it's like Porsches and Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Michelin, so it's a legit sports car endurance race that I think we're going
Do
to
you know
do
what
next
this? Do you
weekend.
remember what the series is called?
Yeah, let me grab it real quick. It's called the the Yas Racing Series, but I think they pull from. Oh man, got it right here. 24hseries.com is their website, and I think it's just
Huh.
24H series. Uh, like I said, I think they're out of France or Italy. Uh, And so they're really just like Europe focused, and then they drop down into the Middle East for 2 races. But
Huh.
a lot of guys,
Yeah, that'd be a
they'll
blast.
this is kind of one of their. from the little bit of research I did today, it seems like a lot of the racers, this is like their winter testing before
Oh, okay.
Daytona, before WEC really starts up. At least I've recognized a couple names, and I'm like, yep, that person, they're a GTD
Oh, just
driver.
yeah,
So, uh, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a top tier series, but they have like 6 or 7 races throughout the year, so
nice.
should be fun.
Yeah, I
And I'm
mean,
hoping.
because
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's that's interesting that it's so soon, but I guess where you are in the world, you can pull that off. Like the roar before the 24 is not until the 17th,
Hmm.
17th through 19th. So it's
Yeah,
like the season here is hardly started.
yeah. I mean, it's perfect track weather right now to do this, and yeah, like I said, I don't know if the Dubai race that was today is 100% affiliated with the Abu Dhabi race, which is next weekend, but it's like the same cars, like the same GT cars that are racing up there. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
nice.
I'm hoping they like I said, it's general admission and it's free, and I'm hoping that we can just roam different than a Formula One sanctioned race that we talked about last time. Uh, I'm hoping I can, get
That'll be
close
a
to the
good
track and
comparison.
stuff. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about that.
Hmm. Yeah, I need to get a coalition of people to go with me so I can get out there. That kind of goes back
Well,
to the
maybe
previous point.
yeah, but this is so I don't know. I guess I've always liked cars, but it's hard not to like even if you don't like cars. I think you're going to enjoy going to a race.
Yeah, I'm
So
luring people in with lunch and free. So,
yeah, free helps.
yeah. Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's nice and we can walk around and stuff. So that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
But
that's exciting. Anytime I've ever traveled international for business, I've always put a real effort into trying to find a glimpse of that country's car culture
hmm.
and specifically race. Like I want to see a competition of some sorts.
Yeah.
And I failed each time. I've been to Ireland and Italy, and either the time of the year, it's always been kind of winter time.
Mm.
But there's just been nothing. I've never been able to win at that game.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. They market it as like it seems like the entrance, you're not necessarily tied to a sanctioning body for this 6 hour race. So I think they're trying to pull some uh local drivers, which, to be fair, it's not necessarily, you could be a local Emirati, but be an
Mm-hmm.
expat, you know, English or
Yeah,
American. So I don't know. We'll see. Should be fun. It'd be good, something to talk about, after the next episode.
yeah. I'll see if I can educate myself in any way, shape, or form on that one. But it might just be story time from Nick.
Yeah, yeah. I'll send you some links to see, and then share some pictures and stuff. But
No, but
yeah,
the comparison between the two races you've seen over there would be I can't wait to hear that story.
yeah, for sure. And then like the turnout too, because Formula One. I mean, it was sold out. Uh,
Yeah,
I can't imagine that this race is going to be anywhere near capacity. It's probably it might. We'll see. More to follow.
yeah. That's
uh,
what in a week.
yeah, next Sunday. So head out there. But I guess maybe the last thing to talk about is the podcast I was on. And then it'll be really fast,
Yeah.
but we can
Oh my
finish
gosh,
up.
I can't believe we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, yeah. It's called the Talbot's Turn Fast podcast, and it's this guy. He's been Tim Talbot. He's been autocrossing for like 3 years, and kind of similar motivation, I think, for him to start his show that we're kind of talking about here is just get more people talking and have
Yeah.
opportunities to talk about uh, cars. He's very focused on autocross in the like muscle car pro touring segment. Uh,
Hmm.
so like I think the entire show, at least the interview was like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a little more. But we talked about like my experience new to the new to the sport of autocross. And it's funny, he put out feelers like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, like, hey, I'm starting this podcast and looking for guests. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll
Why
throw
not?
my hat in, yeah. And so I did that, and he emailed me, and he's like, hey, you ready for an episode? And this was like, I don't know, September. I was like, man, not good timing. I'm just like getting my feet under me here. And then they slowed down considerably, so I shot him a note, and he was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, let's do the show." And since then, he has had like some heavy hitter autocross and pro touring industry people on the show,
Really?
and I'm like, "Are you sure you want me on this show?" Like, I,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we'll see. He was
I
all about
think,
it. He wanted the perspective, of somebody
yeah,
brand new. Uh, which I was very upfront during the show. I was like, I've done this 5 times. I think I've been to 5 events. But the
yeah,
important piece is like I'm so hooked into doing this. Like it has changed my outlook, my outtake on everything with the Camaro. I mean, you've seen the transformation over the
yeah,
past, year. It's been wild. So I think it was good. I think I was a little nervous, not because I'm nervous of speaking, but I've never met the dude, and it was like maybe 10 minutes of, hey, how you doing? This is the flow. Okay, record. And so
yeah,
we went right into it. And I'm just like, don't say anything stupid. Don't, you know, and
Eh,
I
yeah,
I think it's gonna be fine. It'll be cool. I think good exposure to my car and my Instagram channel, hopefully, and then maybe that can turn into people seeing this show once we go live with it. I think the biggest self critique I had of myself was I should have done more homework on like the parts and the projects that I had kind of done to evolve it into a pro touring car. Because it's
yeah,
funny, we could have this conversation, no pressure, and I'll remember the parts names and you know when I did it, and dude, under pressure, I was like, I felt like I was just like, I could not recall the, parts companies and just all the details that,
yeah,
but it is what it is, man. I can't continue to go back and be like, I should have done this, should have done that. Who cares? It's going to be fun.
yeah. That it's interesting you say that because so I'm not like a big, I watch football. I have a favorite team, but I'm not a good fan. Like I really don't pay much attention to it. And
Hmm.
I'm always so surprised when I hear people talking about it. They're just spouting off like statistics and uh, all these super fine details of the season and games, and it's like I don't. And every now and then I imagine like people, especially in autocross, are the same way with like dampening rates and all these super technical details. And
Hmm.
if you got put on the spot and be like, oh, what, you know, you
Yeah.
name it, like what dampening rate do you have on your right rear? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
So,
know. I want to go fast. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. So I I don't know. I haven't heard it. He hasn't published it yet. So I'll probably listen to it. You know, I my main job is to public speak and to be in front of people and do all that stuff. So I'm not really concerned about being embarrassed or anything. But you sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes you don't take the W, sometimes you take the L on some things, and there's a few things I'm sure I'm just gonna look back and be like, "What the hell were you talking about?" But uh, Yeah, dude, overall it was
Well, if you don't
cool.
listen to it, I will. I started following him, so
Yeah. Yeah, so overall it was cool. It was a good opportunity um and he actually there's a couple times where we kind of I asked some questions that I like genuinely didn't know the answer to or could have used some advice. So uh being able to talk to him, it was just like a natural conversation. Like it was actually a pretty good experience. So
and like I said, the last episode you were talking about just being around uh, people that are doing the same thing, so it doesn't
mhm.
stays relative amongst your, your circle. Something like that's really cool too, because now that person has access to, like you said, maybe some big players,
Mhm.
and therefore maybe in some scenario you also have access to maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So there's, like I said last time, it's a pretty good chance we're going to go to Scott Air Force Base next in basically St. Louis, Southern Illinois, and he had their SCCA club president on before me, and they have he said
Mhm.
like on average they have like double digit KMT muscle cars at their autocross events, and so
Oh,
if I can go there. Uh, they that's going to be huge because the turnout is massive, and to be able to actually talk to them would be super helpful for me. Well, man, the internet connection, I can tell on my it's me. We have incredibly shitty internet. It's like 10 megabytes up and down. So I'm blown away that we can actually do what we're doing. But I can tell it's getting, I think I'm at the peak of my something's happening. People were stressing the system, I think. So it's getting kind of choppy. I'm going to cut all this babbling out, but I think we probably should get to finishing up finishing up the show. That's cool with you.
yeah, sounds good to me. I think that was it was good. We got a lot to look forward to with IMSA getting started here in a week with the Roar, and before you know it, it'll be go time with the season.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, that's true with projects as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to next weekend. I'm hoping I can get out to the track, and then yeah, we have crested halfway, so I'm very much looking forward to getting back home and probably take this banner off, and I'll have the Camaro behind me, and I'll be in my garage, and we
Yeah,
can go from
yeah.
there. But
Hopefully, I'm looking forward to get warmer and a little bit brighter in here and more comfortable to have a conversation than standing in my winter coat, a dark
hell yeah,
garage.
man. Cool. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the Fast and Slow podcast.